Good morning, everyone. Can you let me know if you can hear me well? Good morning, Gukarat, Sona, Joanna, Mazir, Zinab. Good to see all of you. I hope that, hey Aslan, good to see you too. Hope that you're starting a good week. A polar bear joke for hot days that we had in the past few days. Today is supposed to be a more pleasant day, no heat warning. So that's my weather forecast for the day. So good morning, Basanta. Good to see you. Good to see you all. Okay, brand new week. Week number 10. Number 10 in our journey. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. Okay. So let's see. What are we going to do today? Let's see here. So, okay, Ukrats, can we do projects in groups of 4 people? Yes, up to 4 people. So 3-4 people, okay? Those are the groups. Okay, so today we will start back at trying to wrap things up from where we left off last week, okay? Last week we saw... What is it that we saw last week? What did we talk about last week? What was that? Just in general, no specifics here, just high level. What did we talk about last week? I know we're still waking up, and as you know, I love this morning class. This is the best time for me, but I understand that some people might be still sleeping. That's fine. So let's wake up. And again, what have we discussed overall? Just a topic, just one word to describe what you saw last week. 1-2 words. Just again to give me an idea that you remember something from last week. Okay, not much there. Very quiet class. App security. Yes, Gafeng, Mazir. Security. We blocked. What did we block last week? We blocked some things. We block what? We block some areas of our application from being accessed without going first to a login and password. Okay? So we blocked actions, we blocked entire controllers from being accessible before you enter a username and password. Okay? So that's what we did last week. We were able to validate. Let me just apply this presentation here. Let's see. Okay. So we have been able to block controllers and actions with the authorized keyword. Okay, we did that by creating an account controller. We were able to create a login view that would ask for username and password. With username and password, we have created, and let me open the source code here. With the username and password, we have used the user manager class and object to check if the user exists. If the user exists, we would check the password. Okay, so here is a little bit of code that we have done last week. I think that Visual Studio is still loading. That's why it's showing this. Leave it. So let me try to reload this. I think it's still loading here. Ignore the squiggly lines. That's okay. It's still loading some packages here, I think. In any case, we have used the user manager to be able to load the user based on the username, and we have used the sign-in manager to check for the password match. This is bugging me. Let me try to reload this. Well, I don't know what's going on here, but this is all good code. Okay, see, all successful. I don't know. Now it goes. Okay, so now it's okay. I just tried to rebuild, and Visual Studio was just taking some time to load things up here. So again, we have used the user manager to be able to load the user based on the name that we put there. Now, in this code here that I have provided on the Centennial, instead of using the login name and passwords, I have switched here to use what I called a login model. Login model is just a way that you can replace the name and password and put those two pieces of information inside a model, inside a class. Look at this class here. Look at the models. Then we have this special model here, which is a more, I would call them a helper model that will only store the name and the password. And with that, we can then link our login view, which has name and password. We can link it back to a login model. So again, we just replaced the name and password and put them together in one single class, in one single model. So we can use @model, we can use in the controller, we can also have a model as a parameter here. So again, we just replaced them individually by a single model. A model that does not have a database table attached to it. It's what it's called a view model. A model that is only used to facilitate the communication between the view and the controller. Okay? Anyway, I'm not gonna focus too much on this. The point is that we have seen user manager, how to find a user based on the name, and the sign-in manager to be able to check for the password validity, if the password is correct or not. Okay? What I would like to start today is by showing you how to create, as we did the login, I would like to create a logout option as well. So right now if we run this, and let me see, identity seed here. Yeah, so we have the username and password. Let me run this. Okay, so if you go to, let's say, admin index, you are prompted with this. If I log in, now, usually when you are able to log in to a system, you are able to do what? To get out of it. What is it that you would expect? You would expect which option available after you log in? Come on. If I log into a system, I should be able to do what to get out of that system? I'm just trying to see if who's awake over there. Log out. Yes, Prince. Log out, Joanna. Yes. So I want to create a logout option. The same way as we are able to log in, we should be able to log out. Otherwise, we'll stay logged in. Okay? And we are not able to log out. Doesn't make sense. So what I would like to do today in the beginning of our class is to build a logout option with you. After that, just to give you a heads up, we're gonna jump to the next topic, which is the topic of this week, which is called deployment. And we will be deploying our application to Azure. Okay, gonna be deploying to Azure application. I'll be showing today lots of little steps. So be ready there to write down notes, to take screenshots. Actually, I think that's something that people don't leverage enough here, is when I'm talking about those things, you should maybe have a Word document open on the side or behind the scenes. Just here and there, whenever something is important, take a screenshot, put that in the Word document, make a little comment there. But use that as a way to write down your notes and to help with your notes, okay? Just a suggestion here. Anyway, let's create our logout right around here, right around the top right corner of our admin interface, okay? So I'm going to close this and we're gonna start. Let's see here. I'm going to start by looking at our layout. Let's have a look at our admin layout. Look, for me to be able to add something around that area, and I just close it, but I'm going to open again because I'm also opening another source code here. So I want to add around here. So let's just give this a try. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be using a few extra divs right here. At the top, you see view bag title. This is the title. And then I'm going to add the logout around here. So for that to happen, I'm going to break down this area. Right now, it just has one H4 tag. I'm going to break that down into two columns, into two divs. Okay. The first one will have the title. The second one will have the logout option there. So I'm going to add a few divs here, a few extra divs here. Okay. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say div. We have the first div here. And the first div will have just the H4, the title. And the second one will have the logout. Okay, logout option here. Now, of course, it's not just the name logout. We have to put this as a link. But for now, I just want to position this properly. So let's have a look. Let's refresh this. See how it looks like. Okay, so this is not necessarily how I want to see it. I want to see this logout right around here. This is not an UI course. But I know what is happening here is that the first div is right here as the first area. The second one is down here. I want to put them side by side. For that to happen, I'm going to use a bootstrap class. I'm going to say class equals to call. So it will turn this div into a column, and it's not v-less, it's class. It's not less, it's class. And column number 2 right here. Again, I don't want you to memorize nor get to know too much about this. Actually, I think I'm missing something here. I have to make this as a row. So the containing div will be a row, and we have 2 columns inside of it. Let's see if this will work now. Yes, you see, now I have them side by side. But of course, logout, it has to be a link or a button, okay? So I'm gonna say that logout, I'm gonna create a link here. Now, this link will have, of course, a class, so we can style it nicely. I'm not gonna add anything for now, but it will have an action here. So ASP action. The action, let me ask you this. What do you think would be a good name to give to this action? I think that will be good with what? Come on, let me know. What do you think would be a good name for a logout action? Well, that's kind of obvious here. Let's call it logout, okay? Let's call it logout. Now, look at this. If you look at the application, where is this logout action? Where is going to be placed? Where will it be placed on? Which controller will store, will host the logout? What do you think? Based on our application, on our sports store application, where do you think that this should be? Which controller? The admin controller. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's have a look at the admin controller. Okay, so admin controller. Okay, where did we put the login? Where did we put the login action? Okay, I'm going to share that with you. There's an expression in Portuguese that says it's harder, something is harder than milking a stone. Can you imagine of milking a stone? To take milk out of a stone? It's pretty much impossible, isn't it? So that's how I'm feeling right now when I'm asking questions. It's hard, it's easier to take milk from a stone than to get you guys today to answer the questions. Anyway, I'm gonna ask again. I'm gonna keep trying to milk the stone. So which controller has the login action in our application right now? You can look at the source if you have the source code. The admin control. I'm gonna rephrase the question. Okay, we have a login. Where did we put the login action? Which controller? Because I don't see the login action here. I see delete, I see create. Yes, thanks. Thank you very much. Accounts. In the account controller, we have the login. So, in the account controller, we're gonna put the logout. Okay? So the logout will be here as well. Okay? Now, let's see here. Logout. Logout will be quite simple. The logout will be very, very simple. we're gonna be using, just gonna be calling the logout here, public. Look, because we will be using the sign-in manager, all methods in the sign-in manager, they are all asynchronous. So I'm gonna already use async here, task I action results, and I'm gonna call this logout. Okay, and from here, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna just call the sign-in manager, and I'm gonna say sign out asynchronously. There are no parameters, and we're gonna return. I'm gonna stop this because we need to recompile, and we're gonna return what? You're gonna return when I log out. I want to go to the root of the website, back to the beginning of the website, so to the root URL. So I can say redirect to I can say redirect to / It's going to redirect to the root of the site. Okay, now sign out is asynchronous. When I'm using asynchronous, I have to use await at the beginning, and with this, what we have here, we have a logout in the account controller. Let's have a look at our code there in the admin layout. So let's give this a try. We put the action here, logout. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the admin index. Look, I'm already logged in. It's not looking that great yet. Let's make this button look better. Let's use a few classes to style the button. So I'm gonna just put here a few classes for this link. Bootstrap classes. I'm gonna refresh. It should look a little bit better now. Look, now it's looking like a button. And if I click logout, let's see what will happen. Look, it's giving me an error. Why it's giving me an error? Look, I'm gonna go back here and look at the link that is generating. Look at the button here. If I click there, it's going to /admin/logout. Again, what's the problem? We have the wrong what? Because we have the wrong root. We have, and Mazir is saying, because once you get the index, which is not authorized. It's more about the root that Tank is talking about. So let me tell you this. Look, in this view, in this page, what is the controller of this page? What is the controller right now? Admin, correct. So because in our link, we just said action is equals to logout. Because we did not say which controller is that from, it's gonna assume that it is the same controller that you are already in. I'm already in the admin controller, so because I did not say which controller is that one, it's assuming that logout is also part of the admin controller, but we know that it's not. So what we can do to fix this, we can use another tag helper in the logout link. You can say ASP-controller, and now we can say I want to call the account controller. Okay, so now I mentioned both of them. Now let's refresh here and let's look there. Look at the link now, /account/logout. Now it's pointing to the right place. If I click there, this is what happens. We, as we did in the code, it sign out and then redirected to / to the root of the site, which is this one. Now, if I try to go back, I'm logged out and I have to log in again. Okay? Does that make sense? Log out. Again, let me show you the code once again. The code is all available for you. Those are the last codes available under Centennial Content, Files, Sports Store Chapter 12, and right here. This is the last one, okay? Part 803. So again, does it make sense? Any questions about the logout? We are using again Sign-in Manager, and Sign-in Manager, the same way as it has password sign-in, it has a sign-out. Thank. The layout button is visible even not logged in yet. That's correct, Thank, and that's a good point that you're making, and we can hide that. Okay, so right now, if I go to login, it shows logout, which doesn't make too much sense, correct? That's what you were talking about. So there is a way to hide that, okay? And we can look at that. Let's see here. We can handle that by, let me see here. We have to put together a test there. We have to test something. Let's see here. We have to use this guy. So we have to use this line of code in our view to check if the user is authenticated or not. We can do this. I'm answering your point thing. We can just in the code, in the view, I can go to the admin layout and I can say something like this. If user dot identity dot is authenticated, if the user is authenticated, show the logout. Okay, I can put this. I'm gonna save. User is the user class that we can use to get information from the current logged in user. Look, it comes from the security of the view. So let's have a look there. Let's refresh. When I refresh this, I'm hoping to have logout be gone. So it's gone. So now, if I'm not logged in, I don't see the logout. However, when I log in, then I can see the logout. Does it make sense, Tang? Yes, it's magical. So yeah, so you can keep this little trick on your sleeve there. So you can test whether the user is in or out, and then you can hide or show things according to the how the user is, if the user is in or if the user is out. Okay? So with this point, with this topic, we wrap things up about security. Anyone wants to ask me anything about security part. Again, you're going to be applying security on your projects. One of the things that you're going to be doing is on your CRUD, the create, delete, update for recipe, the user must be logged in to be able to perform those actions. So you need to make available some sort of login feature so the user can click and is able to log in, and only after the user is in, they will be able to create, update, and delete recipes. Okay? Any questions about that? With that in mind, what I want also to do is I want to open some space here. As I mentioned last class, I'm gonna give a few minutes here for us to talk about the assignment. Are there any questions from any one of you? Not about the assignment, sorry, but about the project. Because the project is a bit extensive, lots of moving parts. I want to open the floor right now for any of you to ask me questions about the project. You can ask in the chat, you can ask on Padlet, however you want to ask. I'm all ears. Anyone with anything about the project? Yes, the project. Yeah. Any questions whatsoever? Okay, Mazir, view model. Okay, view model, first of all, view model, Mazir, is just a fancy name. There's nothing technically different on it. Okay, view model is just to identify that this is a class used to, this is a class just to help communication between controller and views. It's just that. It's just a way to simplify the communication and be able to create, and let me go to the login view here. See, now I have a model that I can link to my view. It's called login model. We are using this name login model just to highlight that this is a special type of class. Again, look at this. It's quite simple here, really. We have a name and a password. We flagged both of them as required because we wanted to perform some validation there. Now we can do that because we have this little class here that has, well, has this extra property here. I don't want to worry about that. But basically, we have a name and a password. That's it. So instead of having name and password going to the login action separately, we have both of them inside our login model. So I can say login model.name, login model.password. It's just that instead of having them broken down into two separate pieces, we put them together in this object, which is called login model. But that's it. There is no technical difference here. It's just a class. It's just a simple class. It doesn't inherit from anyone. It has two properties, three properties here. That's it. And we have two of them are required. That's about it. It's just, you can think of it as a helper class. It's helping us to move information from the view back to the controller. Used for special views like page and grid. Yeah, so it has other uses as well. We have other classes here, but look at them. They are just simple classes with a very unique purpose. They have this task of helping to move information from controller to view, from view to controller. This, in a way, Mazir, you can think of this as, okay, instead of me using view bags to transfer information all over and back and forth, let's use those view models because it's a more, in a way, it's a more elegant way to link the data, to send data from the model to the controller, from the controller to sorry, not the model, from the view to the controller, from the controller to the view. It's just a more elegant way. We wrap the data inside of a tidy, nice object. Yes, it's used for special things like paging, like what we did for login, for the cart here is used as well. But you see that they are all very simple classes. No. Well, this one is a little bit more complicated because it has a collection of products, but still. Okay. Again, about the project. Anyone with questions about the project? Guys, this is the time to ask questions. Juhi, let's see. Could you explain more about create a CRUD for cuisine? It isn't clear last time. Okay, Juhi, I'm gonna ask you. You will be the one answering. What is a CRUD? What is a CRUD? What are the tasks that we have around a CRUD? We have, come on, and this is open to anyone. A CRUD creates, update, and delete. Okay? So if I'm saying create a CRUD for students, what do you expect to do? You expect to be able to create students, update students, delete students. Okay? If I'm asking to create a CRUD for cuisine, well, you're going to be able to create a cuisine, have an interface to create a cuisine, to update a cuisine, to delete a cuisine. That's it. Now, with cuisine in particular, what's gonna happen is that if I have 10 cuisines like Italian, French, Indian, Brazilian, Thai food. So again, I have all those kinds of cuisines. I need to, when I'm creating a recipe, so in the recipe, I will have a drop down that shows, oh, this recipe is an Italian recipe. It's an Indian recipe. It's a Brazilian recipe. Which recipe is that? Which type of cuisine is that? Is that a French cuisine? Is that a Canadian cuisine? Is that an Italian cuisine? What is a cuisine? Now, this is when you are creating the recipe. Creating the recipe, you have a drop down that shows the list of cuisines. But where are the cuisines coming from? From the cuisine repository. Cuisine will be a repository, so the cuisines will not be static anymore. They will be dynamic. There will be a CRUD that you're going to be able to add one more cuisine. Oh, I'm adding a recipe, but I see that it's missing French cuisine. So you're going to go to the CRUDs of the cuisines. You're going to see all the cuisines. You're going to be able to click on add new cuisine to be able to add a new cuisine and save it. Does that make more sense, Juhi? Okay, so who can do what? The requirement of the project is that you have to secure recipe, okay? If you want to secure cuisines as well, that's okay. That's okay. You can secure cuisines. So again, you can call it admin or however you want to call the user, but the requirement of the project is to secure recipes. Only logged in users will be able to create, update, and delete recipes. If you want to do the same thing for the cuisines, that's fine. But I did not require that. I did not put that as a requirement, okay? I would say it's really up to you. There's nothing wrong if you leave the cuisine creation open, that's okay. If you lock the cuisine, that's okay as well. One thing that is a must is you have to lock the recipe creation because that's what I explicitly requested in the project details. Okay? The same thing as cuisine, let me mention about the other one here. Let's see, assignments. Let's see, project. Sorry, not project. Okay, feature here. So cuisine, what I explained for cuisine here is very similar to chef as well. The same way as you have a drop down of cuisines, you're gonna have a drop down if you are implementing number 7 of chefs. Oh, it's missing Gordon Ramsay, the Kitchen's Hell guy. Okay, so you're gonna go to the CRUD of chefs and you're gonna add Gordon Ramsay. Okay, but here, another question. How can we have 2 modules in one view? For example, recipes and... Okay, so here's the thing, Mazir. What you're not gonna have 2 models, okay? So recipe, what you can have is you can have in recipe, you can have you can load the collection of the reviews that are attached to that recipe. Okay, as you are loading the recipe details, you may want to send the reviews maybe as a view bag, or maybe as a property of recipe. Maybe recipe has a collection of reviews. Okay, yeah, it can be as a query, but again, or even let me give you another suggestion. Yeah, what I would recommend is that have a collection of reviews attached to your recipe, so you are still sending the recipe, but that recipe has, as part of its properties, has a collection of reviews, which is a query. Yes, you're gonna have let's say you have your reviews model. In your reviews model, it has a recipe ID, so you're gonna load all the reviews where recipe ID equals to 1, 2, 3, equals to the ID of the current recipe. So you can load the collection of reviews from that recipe. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but again, you can use lambda. You can load the collection of reviews where review.recipe ID equals to the recipe ID of the selected recipe. I don't know if that makes sense, Mazir. Let me know. Again, just checking, Mazir. Give me some feedback here. Does it make sense or not? Yeah, so in the view, if you have a collection of reviews linked to the recipe, you can do a for each loop there. That's it. Okay, you can do a for each, and in the recipe you have the recipe ID. So again, whenever you want to create a new review, I don't know how you're doing, but make sure that when you are creating a review, you know the recipe ID of that review, so you can save the recipe ID correctly as well. Okay? Again, that's part of your job to put those pieces together. Okay? Any more questions from anyone at this point about the project? Anybody? If by any chance you have sent me an email yesterday late at night, I still have to get back to you. I see a few emails pending, so I'll still be getting back to you today. Okay, so let's do this right now. It's 9:15. Let's take 5 minutes. Once we come back, we're gonna move forward to a brand new topic, to deployment. We're gonna be deploying our applications live today. You're gonna see how you can deploy that. I'm excited with this topic because now you're gonna be able to show to the world your creations. 5 minutes, and we'll be back. See you in a bit. Hello, can you please confirm that you can hear me well? Just give me some feedback there. Okay, thank you, Mazir. Okay, so before I get going, I just want to take a quick attendance here so we can get started with our new topic, okay? So here we go. If you hear a name, just say hi, Aslan, Anusha Basanta. Okay. Benno, Barath, and Gaofeng. Okay, Gopika, Gokirat, and Jayanth. Joanna, you're there. Johi, you're there. And Karandeep. Karandeep. Mempreet, Mazir, you there. Mehmet. Mukahit, Nita, Pavani. Nita, okay. Pavani. Peitong, Prince, and Ravi. Prince, you're there. Peitong, are you around? Ravi, okay. Sali, Samarth, and Sona. Sali, Samarth, and Sona. Ravula, Sayed, and Tang. Tang, okay. Yonga, Zanab, and Deng. Yonga, Zanab, Deng. Zanab, are you around? Okay. Okay, great. Great. Oh, okay. No problem, Joanna. I got yours. I got your presence. Okay, no problem. Okay, so I am very excited with this topic of today, because then what you're gonna do is you're gonna be able to have your application appearing on the web. You're gonna be able to send the URL to whatever you create to somebody else so they can see it, okay? They can see your creations with MVC, with C#, with .NET Core. You can deploy live. Now, I'm going to start by let you know that there are a lot of little steps here that you go through. The presentation that I put together, which if you go to content, week 10, you can download from here, week 10 deployments, okay? So the deployment is step by step. It's gonna show you step by step, but you should make your own notes as well, okay? Because it's a step by step, just highlighting a few things. But again, as you go along, write down your notes. You're gonna want also to revisit the segment of this class, you know, this recording, because I'm telling you, there are a lot of little steps here, okay? I will be demonstrating the whole thing, hopefully today, if not finished today, next class, and then you're gonna have a chance to practice, to put what you learn in practice, okay? So let's see here where the presentation is. Let's see. So here we have week 10 deployment. We're going to be deploying our application to where? Where are we deploying again? Where are you putting our application? Anyone remember? I mentioned that quickly, I think last time. But where are we going to be deploying this to? To Azure, yes. To Microsoft Cloud, okay? Okay, so today the objective is to create the databases on Azure. We're gonna be using our Sports Store application. Right now we have two databases. We have the product database and the identity database. So both of them will be deployed to Azure. And we are deploying the Sports Store application to Azure. Okay, deployment is covered on chapter 12. And but again, pay very much attention to the explanation here, because over time Azure changes its interface. So things change a little bit as compared to the book. And even every time I teach this class, I have to do it myself so I can see what kind of changes have been done by Azure, because the application evolves, you know. So we're gonna put the whole thing in the cloud, but we're gonna start, the first step of our move to the cloud is to put the databases. The databases, we're gonna be putting them on the cloud as the first step. The second step, we're gonna deploy the entire application to the cloud as well. So first databases, second the entire application. You're gonna see that in two very distinct steps, okay? So there's a little video here that talks about Azure. You can play this video on your own time, or even if we have time a little bit later. No, actually, you know what? Let's play this. Let's play this. I like to play this video because some of you may not have heard of Azure before, and you know, just to get an overview about Azure. So I'm gonna play it. Let's see if I can put the right settings here. Okay, I think this is enough for us to have a general understanding of what Azure is and the importance of cloud computing. Let me tell you, a lot of you will be working on environments in the future and now that are using the clouds, whether it's Azure, whether it's AWS from Amazon, whether it's the Google Cloud, but you will be working with those clouds. So this will help you to get your feet wet, to get you started understanding how to work with, how does it feel like working with a cloud environment. So this will give you a good, has anyone in the group worked with a cloud environment before, one of those three big clouds? Anyone? Give me there if let me know there in the chat if you have worked before with a cloud environment in any capacity, even if it's if it was a minor work. Nobody? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So that's good. Just host and serve. Okay, great. That's good because then you're gonna get started with me today. Okay, so let me get here to the presentation. Okay. So Azure. So now we're gonna start to go through the steps that we need to go through to put our application together in the clouds on Azure. Okay. Now let me tell you this. There are some steps that are fast, some steps that are a bit slow. Sometimes we have to wait a few minutes for the things that we create to show up. Okay, sometimes it's not just like that. You just click on a button and it happens. No, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes I have to say that things go wrong and we have to try again. Okay, so don't be concerned about trying again. In the clouds, because we are working remotely, things can go wrong. Okay, things can go wrong when I've tried whatever I'm gonna show you right now. I repeated them yesterday, step by step, so I can review if anything has changed there. And it worked for me. But again, we never know. Things can go wrong, and we're gonna work through if anything goes wrong. A few more notes. As you saw in the video, Azure, you can start for free. As a student on Centennial, you have access to that. Now, I have seen in the past students with difficulties getting their account with Azure. Maybe sometimes they were using Azure before and that shows that they no longer have credits. Bottom line is that, worst case, you can create a brand new Outlook.com account and use Azure for free for up to a month. Okay? One thing though is that if you're gonna start a brand new email account, like an Outlook account, Azure will ask you to validate your account with a cell phone number, because it sends a cell phone message to your cell phone. And it will ask you to validate via credit cards. So if you are not able to use your Centennial account and you're gonna create a brand new account, you may need to validate your account with a credit card. They don't charge, they will not charge anything unless you go over the 1 month with active elements. So, very important here. Again, I really hope that you listen to me well here, because a student from 2 semesters ago, she came back to me saying that her credit card was charged $100 because she left things open there with Azure. So whatever we do with Azure, I recommend that once we are done with the course, you delete everything. All resources you create from Azure, you delete all of them. So there's no way that you will be charged anything. Okay? Just as a precaution. Again, not today, you don't need to delete it today, but as you get the course done, and we have a month to go, at the end of the course, delete everything from your Azure account if you have anything left there. Delete them. So you have nothing left there to be charged for. There's no chance for that, okay? So, again, the first step is you can either use your Centennial email or you can create a new email on Outlook.com. You need an email address to be able to log in to Azure. So, here's what I did. Yesterday, I just created a new account. I didn't want to go through the new account with you because it doesn't make sense to spend time on that. But what you can do is, if you go to, actually, I'm going to go in incognito mode. If you go to portal.azure.com, here, the first thing that if I were you, I'll try to put your eCentennial email address. I'm not gonna put mine because mine I have been using for a while, so I don't have free credits there anymore. So what I did, I created a new account. So in my case, I've clicked create one and I created a brand new account. Okay? Create a new one, and then I said get a new email address. so I could set up a new email address. I can set up as outlook.com or hotmail.com. I did with Outlook. I'm not gonna do it right now. You can do that on your own by yourself. You don't need to do it right away, but just make sure that you have an account. Either your Centennial, hopefully that will work. If not, you can create a brand new account here. I'm gonna go back because I have already set up an account. I'm just gonna, sorry, not Office, portal.azure.com. So again, the URL is portal.azure.com, okay? And my email address is this one here. Let's see. So I have created socoder-m20@outlook.com. This is just a test email address, okay? So I'm gonna log in with this one. I have a password for that as well. And here's the Azure environment. They may pop up a message for you. You can ignore this at this point. See, look at this. I created yesterday. It shows that I have $258 credits during my free trial. Okay, so I'm just gonna close the message up there. And here we are. You're gonna see some stuff already done here because I did this yesterday. I'm gonna redo them. Ignore the fact that you see already a SQL Server here. We'll do this again starting from scratch here. But let's just follow through. And by the way, interrupt me at any point if you are confused. Okay? Because again, lots of little steps here. First one, creating an account. Now, look at this. We're gonna create a database. Not one database, but two databases. You're gonna create the products database and the identity database, okay? Noted here, be patient. It takes a while to show things up. A new database, it takes a few seconds, a few minutes to show up. So you have to be patient here, okay? Great, so let's do that. Let's start by creating two databases. So if you logged in and you don't see this, just go click on the Microsoft Azure Home icon, and then you're gonna end up with this list here. Usually, I also like to go to the home. It's another place that you can see the initial setup. You can click on more services as well, that you can see all the services. On the left-hand side, you can see all the hundreds of services that you have here. You have a lot of services here, okay? But again, a good place to start is from home. Home, you see a snapshot of the most frequently used areas on Azure, okay? So let me ask you this. Right now, we need to create two databases, products and identity. When you look at this interface, where do you think that you should go to create the two databases? Where do you think you should go here? Again, I just want you to use your intuition a little bit. Let's try to read through and understand by intuition here. So where do you think that you should go? Exactly, Ravi. You should go to SQL databases, okay? So we are using SQL Server. So let's go to SQL databases. Again, you already see two databases of mine here. I created them yesterday because I was testing this. However, we're gonna create two new ones from scratch so I can show you that, okay? So, in this interface, where do you think you're gonna go to create the first database? Where? What do you see here that tells you that you should be able to create a new database? Where do you go? Yes, Tang, you should go to ads. So let me Let me annotate on that. Let's see if I can draw something there. So here we have ads. Okay, so you're gonna go there. So I'm gonna click there on ads. We're gonna start a new database process here. There are a few settings that we should select. First of all, you're gonna see your free trial here in the drop down. That's the only one that you're gonna have. That's the one that you're gonna be using, your free trial. Okay? Now, if you are doing this for the first time, resource group, you won't have anything yet here. I have M20 because I've created that. However, because I want to show you how to do this, I'm gonna pretend that I have not created a resource group, and I'm gonna click on a new one here. Resource group is just a way that you can group a bunch of services that you're gonna be using under the same category. You can think of a resource group as a category of services that I'm gonna combine together. Because I'm combining a bunch of things for this section, I'm gonna create a new one, which I'm gonna call M20-sec001. I'm just gonna create a new. You can give whatever name you want, okay? I'm just gonna create mine. I want to call it Summer 2020 Section 001. I'm gonna click OK. And there we go. We have a new resource group. Okay? So, free trial, resource group is this one. Now, the database name. So you're gonna start by creating the products database. So products. Again, everyone, write down some notes, take some screenshots. I'm taking my time here to give you the chance to capture screens here, to take print screens from my screen sharing, okay? So again, do that. So database name, I put the database name here. I want to create products, but look, I have to have a server as well. Right now, I have a server that I created yesterday, but as I mentioned to you, I'm gonna create a new one as well, a new server. We need to have a server to store our databases. Our database, they don't exist. They can only exist if we have a server to attach them to. Okay? So I'm gonna click on create a new server. Once you do this for the first time, the next database, you don't need to create a new resource group. You don't need to create a new server anymore because you're gonna have the one that you already created before. Okay, so I'm gonna create a server. I'm gonna give it a name. So I'm gonna say, again, give whatever name you want. However, it has to be unique. So if I call it M, it will say the server already exists. Okay, so I'm gonna call this, let's see here how I call the other one. I'm gonna call this M20-sec001. Okay, you're gonna give your own name. If you try to give the same name, I think that you won't be able to. Okay, now you're gonna have to create a username and a password. Okay, so I'm going to keep a note of those things that I create. Okay, the server name, I'm gonna keep a note aside together with this name here as well. I need the whole thing. Okay, so I need the entire, so the database address will be this entire name, the name of the server, and this address here, .database.windows.net. I'm gonna add the name of the admin login. I'm gonna call this sec001. Again, you put whatever name you want. I'm gonna copy this as well. This is the username. Password, I'm gonna set up a password here. I'm gonna say, let's see here. Okay, I just put something together here. Great. And I'm gonna confirm the password. Location, you can leave it as is. Leave it as the default one. You could select Canada here, but you know what? Let's not go to the trouble. Just keep the selected one and you're gonna be fine. Don't worry about location here, to be quite honest with you. Worry about server name, the login name, and the password. Again, very important. The server name is the address of the database, the username that's gonna log in, and the password. Keep track of those 3 elements. Okay? Any questions? Any questions so far? Again, everyone, I'm gonna say this again and again. A lot of little steps here. Make some notes there. Once you are done with the new server, you click OK. Then you're gonna see the server right here. New server. Okay? The other options here, leave them as they are. You don't worry about this, don't worry about this. Just click on Review and Create. Review and Create here, the button right here. Review plus Create. Okay? I'm gonna click there. Again, anyone has any questions here? That's the time to ask. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. Review plus Create. Let's see if there's anything on Padlet. I have not checked Padlets much, but nothing there. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward here. Review plus Create. Here, you are just reviewing the list of things that you have selected. Don't worry about the estimated cost per month. Again, you are in your free trial. You have $260 to use for 30 days. So that's more than enough. Don't worry about the cost here. There won't be anything here. Click on Create. Now that's when you have to wait a little bit, because it's gonna be provisioning. It's provisioning the database. It takes a little bit of time. See what it says? Your deployment is underway. However, you don't have to wait. You can keep doing whatever you need to do. Look, here's the new server that's been created. And again, deployment is underway. Let it go, let it be. It's gonna finish at some point. What I recommend is go back to home and let's create the second database. By the time that we are done with the second database, this will most likely be done as well. Okay? So I'm gonna go back to home. See, so I'm gonna go back to home, and again, because I need to create the second database, I'm gonna go back to SQL Server, to SQL databases. Okay? Again, I only see 2, the old ones that I had before. But again, eventually, if I click refresh, the new one will show up here. However, we don't have to wait for that. We can create our second database, the identity one. I'm gonna click on Add. Same thing, free trial. Now I have the other server, the one that we created. I'm gonna select that one. Database here, this will be identity. That's the second database. The server, we have, look at this. We don't have the new server yet here, okay? So the server to be set up, we also need to wait a little bit here, okay? Let me refresh this. I'm gonna refresh the screen. Yep, I'm gonna reload this. Let's have a look here. Look, after I refreshed, I can see the other server now, okay? So I have to enter the database name, identity, actually the resource group, the other one that I have created initially, identity database, and the server. Okay. It's just because I have selected the other one, I have to enter here identity. Okay. You cannot have another database with the same name in the same server. Okay. So what is the server? The server is the new one that we have created. Okay, so we select the resource group, we put the database name, and we select the server. Again, if the new server does not show up, refresh the page until it shows up. As I told you, you have to be patient here. It takes a little bit of time for things to get done on Azure. Great. So from here, once again, I'm going to click on review plus create. I just have a look here and I'm going to click create. Once again, second database, need to wait a little bit. Let's go back to home. Let's go back to our SQL databases. So look at this now. We have the new one that we created. Look, it's right here. The products one, capital P. That's the one that I created just a few minutes ago. And we are waiting for the other one, for the identity to show up. So let's click refresh until it shows up. Let's just give it a little time. While we wait for that, I'm going to open the source code of Sports Store so we can start to deploy there. Okay? I'm going to open that. Again, think about questions, everyone. This is the perfect timing for questions. Let's refresh. It's still nothing. Nothing. Okay. Okay, so it keeps showing some message here saying that things have been deployed. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to refresh here. The whole page. Identity is not there yet, but hey, it's going to come. Okay, now here we have, look, we have this one and this one. They are part of the new server. Look, the server name. See, I can filter by resource group. I only want to see the ones that I created for this section. So I'm going to mark this section here. So look, I only see those two. Okay? Those are the ones that I've set up for this section. Great. Okay, so let's keep moving forward here. Let's go back to the presentation. Let's see what we have done so far. We have created the two databases and we can see them now. Now, here's the thing. Mazi is asking, by using Centennial account, will it be free after 30 days? I don't know, Mazir, to be quite honest. I'm not sure. I am not sure. I would not take the chances, okay? So I would recommend that if you want to try with your Centennial account, if it's giving you for free right now, make sure that you remove the resources after you are done. That's my recommendation here. So there's no chance you will be charged for that, okay? And in the future, if you want to do it again, you just have to create a new Outlook account. That's how I do it, okay? No way around that. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, that's, again, I want you to be careful about that. Anyway, firewall. I was just talking about firewall. So we have to open the firewall of our new Azure SQL Server so that our computer can communicate with Azure to be able to create the databases, okay? Because, sorry, the database has been created to be able to create the tables inside the databases, okay? So, what we're going to do is this. We're going to go back here to, from here, you can open either products or identity. Let's open products here. Let's click on products. From here, I can click on set server firewall. A note here, when you set the server firewall, because both databases are in the same server, so whatever you do here will be applicable to both databases because you are doing in the server level. We have a server with two databases, one server, two databases, okay? So this firewall settings will be the same for both databases. So I'm going to click here, set server firewall. Click there. Then there are two settings that you need to be mindful about. One is this one here. It shows my client IP address. This is my local IP. I need to open the firewall to my local IP to access this, because my computer will communicate with Azure to be able to create the tables. If I don't open this to my computer in my Visual Studio will not be able to communicate with Azure to create the database. So what I do here is this. I click Add Client IP. When I click there, look what it does. It creates a new entry here with my current IP address. Again, I need this to be able to run migration scripts and be able to create the database, the tables in Azure. Okay, so I need to open this. Again, click Add Client IP. I did this. That's the first thing. The second one is this one here. Allow Azure services and resources to access the server. I'm going to click yes, because I need to allow eventually the application that I'm going to deploy to Azure, I need to allow it to communicate with this server. So again, two things. Add client IP right here and allow Azure services and resources to access the server. Yes. Okay. With those two things, I can click on Save. Click OK. And now we can be back to your SQL Server database. See, if you go to the first one, the first database, if I go to set firewall settings, everything is done already. Because again, both databases are under the same server, both of them. Okay? And the firewall is a firewall to the server, not specifically to any database, but to the entire server. Okay? So again, you need to open firewall to the server so that your computer can create the tables there. That is this step. This is the one. Okay, as I said, a lot of little steps. Next thing, we need to get the database connection strings. Remember, you have used connection strings in your application to connect locally to your database. Let me show you that. Look at this. I have Sports Store here open. App settings. Look, here's a connection string, but this points to the local database, not to the Azure database. Again, this one here, local database. So both database connections, they are pointing locally to your environments, not to Azure. Okay, we need to change this, or not change, but to add to this. Okay, with the live ones. Now, what you do is this. You go to each database on Azure, click on the products one, and then you can click here, look on the side, connection string, show database connection string. You can click there, and you can copy this connection string here. You can copy, you can select, right click, and copy. Copy that. Copy to your text editor. I'm going to copy it here. Okay, I'm just copying it here. Keep the whole thing. It's one single line, okay? It's one single line with a lot of settings there. It has the server, the port number, the database name. Look, it has the user ID, but it also has the password. Look at the password here. Now it says your password. We need to replace with the correct password that we created, okay? That's why I need to remember that. So I'm going to copy my password here. And I'm going to paste it here. Again, this was my password. So this line is for the product. I'm just going to make a quick note here. Products, database. I have to get the second one for the identity database. Okay, so we have the products one, and we're going to have the identity database 1 as well. I'm going to go back there. I'm going to go to the other database. I'm going to click on, well, actually, it's right here already. So I'm going to click inside. I'm going to click, click copy. And then here's the second one. The same user as this one. The same password as well. Okay. So I have both connection strings, both of them. I have both of them. Now I'm going to go back to my application, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a second app settings that will be the production app settings. Okay, I'm going to create a new app settings here. I'm not going to remove those. I'm going to create a new one. Look at the presentation here. We got the connection strings. We have the server name, the username, the password, the database. That's what we have so far. Well, it just changed a little bit here. That's fine. Let's create already the app settings. So we have to create a new JSON file called appsettings.production.json. Okay? So I'm going to go here to our project. I'm going to right-click the project. Right-click, go to Add, New Item. And I'm going to select under General. I'm going to select a JSON file. Actually, let me see if it doesn't matter because we're going to change this anyway. So I'm going to call it appsettings.production. Again, very important to have this exact naming. appsettings.production.json. Very important. No misspelling here, please. Copy and paste. Click on Add. Look, in my case, my view, it looks like they are both attached to each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first one, to the one that I had already. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to copy. And I'm going to paste here. Paste in the second file. Okay? Now, I'm going to replace the connection strings of each one in the new file. Those are the production files, the production query strings. So I'm going to copy the first one to here, the first database here. I'm going to copy the second one to the second one here. And now we have the development one under appsettings.json and the production one under appsettings.production.json. Okay? Any questions so far? Any questions, everyone? Now, what about we give it a try to connect to those live databases? We can do that. So we can go to the view, SQL Server Object Explorer. And from here, actually I did this yesterday, so I'm gonna disconnect this. And from here, what I'm gonna do is, under SQL Server, I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna say Add SQL Server. We're gonna add a new server to be able to connect to the live server. I'm going to click there. This interface will show up. And then we need to fill out this information here. Server name. What is the name of our server? Well, we have it here. Look, this is our server. I'm going to copy the name. I'm going to paste it here. Remember, we have created the server. Authentication. Let's use SQL Server Authentication. Username, well, we have created this username here. Password, here's my password. I'm going to select remember password because I don't have to enter this all over again. Now, under database name, don't select anything here because we want to have access to both databases at the same time. So do not select database name, just click on connect. If you are taking a screenshot of this, I'll give you a second. Take the screenshots if you need to. Okay, I'm going to click on connect. Now, look that the icon is slightly different. It shows a little cloud. It tells me that the database is in the cloud. So I can expand that. I can expand databases. And now I can see identity and products. Those are not my local ones. Those are the ones in the cloud. Okay, I'm accessing here those two databases that are on Azure, not in my local system. Okay, now they don't have tables yet. Okay, by the way, when you expand the database and expand tables, it takes quite a few seconds to load this up. Maybe 30 seconds, maybe even a minute. Okay, that's okay, it's normal. You just have to wait here. But of course, do we have the tables already? We don't have the tables because we did not run the migration scripts. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run both migration scripts for the product and the identity. For both of them. Look, it's still loading. It takes a while. It takes a while here. I'm gonna try this on product as well. It takes a while. So again, there are no tables there yet. But now I'm gonna run the migration scripts for both databases. So I can create the tables on both of them. Okay? Great. Again, any questions, anyone? I'm going to be using the package manager. I'm going to go to tools, NuGet package manager. I'm going to select package manager console. Who remembers the name of the commands to not create migration scripts? Migration scripts are already here. Migration scripts, they are already here. I want to create the tables. What is the name of the commands that I have to run here? What is the command? Anyone? Anybody? Go back to your notes. Anyone remembers the commands that we have to run here? Yeah, I'm gonna run. Actually, this one thing is the command line. It's to create the migration scripts. I don't want to create them. I have created them already. Yes, Joey. I want to use update database. So I want to use this one here. Look. This one, update dash database. Okay? But I have to say dash context because I have to do first one with one database, then with the next one. However, look at this. There's a little trick here. There's a little trick. If I run update database right now, it's going to run against the local database because the environment on package manager is not aware yet about the production settings. So I have to run a command here I have to run a command here to say that don't use this connection string under app settings, use the new one under production. So I have to run a command that is called, that is this one here. It's a little bit tricky one, but you just have to copy this. You have to set the environment variable ASP.NET Core underscore environment to production. You have to run this command before you update the database so that we're gonna read from the production settings, not from the development settings. Okay, so we have to do this here. In the package manager, we have to run this command. I'm gonna paste that in the chat so you have a record of that as well. I'm gonna run this command, hit enter. How do I know that this works? I can check the environments variable here, and it shows production right now. Can we do this in project property, right? That's a thing we're gonna get there, but you need to do both of them. You need to do both of them. So for now, I'm just gonna create a database. Actually, because it's already 10:21. So we did this. Now I'm gonna run the updates. Gonna run the updates. The first one. Here we go. We're gonna create the first set of tables for the main database. Again, remember, this is running on Azure in the clouds. Look, products here, I'm gonna refresh the tables and they should show up. Takes a little bit of time. Actually, let's see here, right here, refresh. Yeah, so it's refreshing there. I'm gonna run the second one as well while we wait for that. Run the second one. Look at the ones in the products database. It's there. I'm gonna run the second one. For the app identity, So for the products and for the identity, I'm gonna refresh identity here. Refresh, expand tables, give it a second, and the table should show up. See, the tables are here. Last thing that we need to do before we can run the application on the cloud is this. We're gonna go to the details of the project, right click, go to properties, and under debug, you set this property here. ASP.core environment, you're gonna change from development to production. By doing this and saving, when I run my application, the database that I'll be seeing is the live database. This data here is a live one. How do I prove that to you? If I go to the products table, can you guys hear me? Because I think my computer just choked a little bit. Can you hear me well still? Okay, so just to wrap things up, I'm going to prove that this is a live database. Look, we are in Azure here. I'm going to right click the products. I'm going to go to view data. Give it a few seconds. Remember, this is live data on Azure, not local, so it's a little bit slower. So let's see, we should see the data at any moment. And here's the data. I can change kayak, boat, and not $250, but $480. Let's see. If I refresh this, look, kayak, $275. If I refresh, I can see now kayak boat, $480. It means that we are running on the live database. Okay? Everyone, I just had to rush a little bit at the end here. Next class, we're going to reconnect with the database, and we're going to move forward deploying the code live as well. Again, I know magic thing, yes, magical. I love this. I love dealing with live data, with live deployment, you know, that now you can see this live. Next class, we're gonna start with this, and now we're gonna have a live URL that you can share with your family, with your friends, with a future employee, a future employer in a job interview. Okay? Mazir, why did you make tables in command line when you deploy app will not run migration? Okay, Mazir, you are partially correct. But remember, in our sports store, The only database that is creating the tables automatically is the products database. The identity database is not creating the tables automatically. We have to do it manually. So because we had to do it manually for the identity, I decided just to do for the products as well. So I just did both of them. Yes, you're right. If we run, the products would have been created automatically, but not the identity. Okay? Everyone, that's it. Again, lots of little steps here. My recommendation is go back, write down some notes. Next class, you're going to deploy this live, and you will be doing an exercise to get your applications live as well. Okay? I'll see you all on Friday. Have a good week. Have a good time. Enjoy, take care. Enjoy the sun a little bit. The weather is great today. You too, Joanna. Have a good one. Thank you, Mazir. I hope that this was worth, again, exciting times here. Take care, Tang. You too. You too, Deng. Have a good one. Okay, bye, everyone. Bye-bye. See you Friday.